Welcome to the GoOutLiving Attitude, a cancer survivor's journey through health and wellness, helping others search for the tools to bring us a healthier and happier lifestyle. Hi, everyone. Jonathan Brandt, GoOutLiving. Today's special guest is Dennis Henson. Amazing story from CEO to really a life-threatening situation, and it's really changed your life. First, welcome. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And yeah, I can't wait for everybody to hear your story.
Thank you, Jonathan. I really appreciate you having me, and I look forward to doing this program with you. I've been excited about it, so let's do it.
No, I appreciate that. So yeah, like I said, big change for you happened about 8 years ago. You were probably thinking you were on a great track, and then a stroke hit.
It's true. I was 70, and there seems to be a time clock in most people that they don't realize exists. And somewhere around 70, their body just kind of gives up. I thought everything was great. I've written some books. One of the books I wrote about Walt Disney, and when he was 65, he had plans for the next 20 years. If he had lived those next 20 years, the whole world would be different because of the plans that he had. But he was sure that everything was going to be great and that he was going to make some world changing moves. And then they found a tumor in his lung, and just a few months later, it was gone. So I was kind of like that too. I thought, well, everything's great. I go from one meeting to the next. I have students. I have lots of different things, big email lists. Things will go pretty well. Some of my friends said, Dennis, we're concerned about your diet and your lifestyle. And I said, no, man, I feel great. I'm going to live forever. This was the week before the stroke, and I was drinking 6 or 8 Dr. Peppers a day. Well, eating cake, donuts every morning. I would eat chicken fried steak. I was doing everything totally wrong, and felt okay. So I thought everything's going to be great. It didn't really concern me that I was gaining a lot of weight. My ankles swollen. I had a cough. I couldn't really kick. None of those symptoms. And I said, look, you need to make some changes in your life or something bad's going to happen. And then one day, something bad really did happen. And it devastating.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw where you lost your eyesight. You lost mobility.
First thing that happened was I lost everything on my left side. I couldn't move my leg, couldn't move my arm. And it was terrifying. My speech was, it was blurred and slurry. I went to the hospital and was going through all the tubes and things were sticking out of me. And the doctor came in and I looked at him and said, well, at least I've gotten through this. And he just nodded his head like this. And he said, no, it's not, you're not through it. This is the beginning. So chances of having another stroke in the next 3 months are like 100%. So you're in bad shape. And that really wasn't very encouraging. I went and had a sonogram. They said, you're going to have an operation, you got blockage. And I found a holistic doctor that traveled the entire nation. And she was only in Dallas 4 times a year. And I was thinking I was going to die. And so it turned out she was going to be near us the next day. So Norma got an appointment. The next day we went there and she told me the same thing. She said, if you don't make some changes, you're not going to be around much longer. She said, it's so bad. She gave me a support for my neck. She said, if you turn your head wrong, you could go. That's how bad it was. And so she put me on L-arginine and citrulline. She said, if you will take this consistently, you will start to get better. And then she gave me some websites, and there were just hundreds of of testimonials. These were people who were not selling anything. I mean, they were just saying, look, we were about gone. We started taking stuff and we got better. And I thought, okay, so I got it. And instead of just taking a regular dose, I took 6 times. I really was, when I hit the bottom, this was after the second stroke. I had one stroke early in the year, 2018. I had another one 6 months later. I had another one 3 months later, which wasn't so bad. And the second one was devastating. I lost my eyesight. I couldn't stand up. You know, altogether, I had 7 instances, 7. And I thought, I have to stop this. So my goal was in my business, always considered a problem a project. So problem comes up, it's not a problem, it's a project. What can I do? And how am I going to solve this? So I made this a project, and my goal was, I want to get through this. I want to be able to do everything that I could do in the past. I want to have a clear mind, and I don't want people to look at me and feel sorry for me because I had a stroke. Well, at that point, the chances of that happening were not very good. But I was determined.
Right.
So my wife would take me out and walk me to the end of the cul-de-sac. And that's as far as I could go. And so over time, I walked around the block, and then I started walking a mile, and then I started walking to the lake. To make a long story short, walking kind of helped me out because I would put on my earphones, and whatever was ailing me, wherever I've had my eyes, peripheral neuropathy, I would find Barbara O'Neill or a bunch of other holistic doctors that I really like, and I would listen to what they said, make a note of it, go back, tell Norma, I need this, this, this. And whatever it was, she would get it. And I would start to take it. I would do the exercises they talked about. And over years, I started healing. And I was able to recuperate, get my memory back. Actually, my mind is clearer now than it was before because of all the things that I've done. So, it was a traumatic experience. But the thing that came out of it is probably going to help a lot of other people. My friends, people that work for me, some of their relatives would have something. I had one little girl, she said, my father's dying and he's in a wheelchair, he can't do anything. And I said, well, here, have him drink this. I made her a list. I called it the Fountain of Youth drink. And 6 months later, she showed up and I said, well, how's your father? She said, oh, he's driving. He's going to Walmart. He's not in a wheelchair anymore. And isn't that amazing? So then my secretary's husband, my secretary's been with me for 23 years. And her husband had a stroke. And I said, well, I know what to do. And this has been, I guess, 6 months. He's back to work. Everything's good. She just did, the same things that I did, and he healed pretty quickly. So I started writing articles, and I opened Facebook pages. I have two. I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group, both called Body of Health. And the things I put on there are not me. I mean, I mentioned my supplement store occasionally, but the things that are up there, the doctors that helped me when I was really sick. And so if you go there, you can sign up for the group and you'll automatically get the post. There's no cost to it. And then if I write an article, I'll put a link on there to that. And you can share. You can ask questions. You can share things that have helped you. And I think that's doing a lot of good. I also have Body of Health Life, which is my website, where all my articles are located. Plus, you can find those supplements that are really, difficult to find anywhere else. And they're all in one place, reasonably priced, and you know, you get them from Shopify, so they'll be there the next day or so.
Love it. So here's a question I have to start with. I don't hear you talking about your doctors very often in this story.
I mean, I still get a checkup every year, but mostly the doctors, when I go get a checkup, are amazed at my health. You know, that they just say, after the stroke and after they told me I was going to have an operation, I didn't want to have my heart cut out. I mean, I didn't want anybody cutting on me and taking out arteries and putting in new ones. So my wife is from Mexico, and we go there a lot. Not now, but back then we did. And so her best friend is in Cancun, and she knew this doctor that could do sonograms. So every 6 months, we would go get a sonogram, and that doctor agreed with the doctors in the United States. When I first went, the blockage was pretty bad. So 6 months later, after I started taking all the stuff and doing the different stuff, he pulled my file out and he did the sonogram, and he asked his assistant, "Is this the same guy? You know, are you sure? Because you can't turn this stuff around. Blockage, you can't reverse it." Well, I had reversed it 20 points in 6 months. And so we continued to go to him, and we finally got to the point where we didn't need to go anymore because I still have a blockage, but my body has created ways around the blockage. Cholesterol clots have been reduced, but the veins and arteries have increased in size. So the amount of blood that's getting to my brain and to my heart is actually more than it was before all this started.
So, I mean, obviously, if you would have gone down the road that the doctors wanted you to go down, you probably wouldn't be here right now.
What they prescribed for a couple of weeks, and I told my wife, I said, "I'm not taking this anymore. It's killing me. If I'm going to die, I'll die, but I'm not going to die taking this." And so I haven't had any of those in 8 years.
I mean, it's kind of that here's how I always prescribe or said it with myself is, if I follow that protocol, it doesn't seem very it doesn't seem like I'm gonna be living very long, to be honest, and or I take things into my own hands and find a way. And that's pretty much how you felt about it. I mean, you weren't ready to give up, were you?
It's not even in the cards. I was going to fight. You know, my whole life has been struggling. If you're a business owner, it's just it's just one fire right after another. And this was just a different project. And I've enjoyed the project. And the thing that I really love is helping other people. I mean, when Jennifer's husband had a stroke and he was in the hospital, was so anxious to help. And she was one of the things that my doctor, and I'm sure his doctor, said, we had wonderful support. My wife supported me. She was right there beside me. And when Victor was in the hospital, she was right there beside him. But she had seen what had happened to me. And it wasn't hard for me to convince her that if you do this and this and this and this, things will start getting better. And it was no time for he started controlling his blood pressure. It's perfect now. You know, he's back to work. He has a clear mind. His voice, he had difficulty speaking. He's perfect. So the things that I talk about in my articles and the things that I recommend really do work. I've seen it happen over and over. And I don't care if you get the stuff from me or not. I really don't. I just want to help people get better. Like the last time I got a cold, I rarely get a cold, but the last time I felt a cold coming on, I have this set of 8 things that I take. And those 8 things are a bundle on my side. If you take those things the first time you get a sign of a cold, the next day you won't have a cold. Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
There's things that parasites cause. Like sometimes people get blisters on their lip or their mouth and they get a cold sore. If you put the right kind of supplement on that before the day is over, it'll be better. I mean, it's just knowing what to do for whatever happens. Well, the way to find those answers is the same way I did. You can go to YouTube, and I think Barbara O'Neill's just, she's an angel. I don't know if you've ever heard her, but pretty much anything that ails you, you type in Barbara O'Neill and that. She has an hour lecture on it, and it really works. So one of the things she said is cayenne pepper can stop a stroke in its tracks. Isn't that something? So, you know, I take cayenne pepper all the time. I love it. One of the health things is fiber. The more fiber you take, the longer you're going to live. I mean, you're going to live fiber for 10 years longer if you eat a lot of fiber every day. Okay. What's the best fiber? Good popcorn. That's done with the right kind of oil, has the right kind of salt, and you could put cayenne pepper on it.
I like that.
So I mean, nobody likes to take cayenne pepper, but if you put it on your salad, you put it on your popcorn, you don't put a lot, you just put enough so that it gives it a little bit of a tang. But it's like an antibiotic. It's the antibiotic, except it doesn't have any side effects. It's all good. And people say, well, I can't take pepper. It's not good for my digestion. Well, no, it's cayenne pepper. The other peppers will set you on fire all the way through. Cayenne pepper will heal an ulcer. It's just the reverse. Learning these tips and tricks. The problem is when you're 50 or 60 or 40, you think you're going to live forever. You think you're invincible. Oh, I'm not sick. I'm not going to get sick. But if you don't take steps then to prevent it, when you hit 70, 75, and 80, things are just going to crumble right out from under you. You know, your feet are going to collapse, your ankles are going to get big, your heart's going to quit working, you won't be able to see. I mean, it's like a train heading toward a brick wall, and you think, well, no, I'm different. My train's not going to hit that brick wall, but you're not. You've got to start taking those bricks down before the train gets there. And if you don't, it's just going to happen. So I'm not trying to give you to frighten anyone. I'm just saying, if you stop drinking 6 or 8 Dr. Peppers a day, you're going to live longer.
It's that straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, there's certain foods. Well, I call it the five white foods to avoid. Table salt is just poison, you know. But if you take Celtic salt, it's wonderful. I mean, you should take it several times a day before you go to bed. I even run it out my ears. I mean, Celtic salt is wonderful for you. It tastes about the same. I actually like it better. But table salt is just the opposite. That's one of the 5, you know. Milk, it's not made for people to drink, and then it's pasteurized. It's really not good for you. Now, there are dairy products that are good for you, but they've been fermented. What's another white food? Wheat, white wheat. If you eat a lot of white bread, you're just asking for it's just a problem. So if you go to my website, Body of Health, there it lists, here are the 5 white foods to avoid, and it's easy to avoid them. I eat better now. When I first came out of the stroke, I thought I'm never going to be able to enjoy a meal again because everything that's on the list is everything I liked. But my wife, she's an angel. She put together a diet that I can't wait to get home and have a meal, because you can get around those things. You can find things that you really love. One of the most healthy things you could possibly have, and I lived without them for about 7 years, is a hamburger. It's just, you have to be careful about the bread you use. You have to be careful about the meat that you use, but then all of the other stuff that you put into it is really healthy for you. And if you can't figure out any other way to get sauerkraut in your diet, put it on your hamburger. If you're not eating sauerkraut, you're missing the bus because it's really, really good for your gut and your health. It's just like cabbage. There's just so many of these little things. Like if you do a sauna 4 times a week, you're going to live 20% longer just for doing that. Just because it cleans the largest organ in your body is your skin. And the only way to really get it cleaned is doing a sauna. It's also good for your thyroid. It resets your thyroid. What I suggest is make it a habit to read something. I wrote a book one time called Real Impact Daily Inspiration. And the reason for the book was to help people form the habit of reading something positive every day that leads them toward the goal. So the book makes that easy because it has long things and short things and little tiny things, so you could read every day. So if your goal is, I want to be healthy, take the book, Real Impact Daily Inspiration, form the habit of reading something positive every day, and then transfer that over into reading something healthy. And one of the best places to start is go to Body of Health and read the articles. I have a radio program that I do every week. And for every program, I write an article and I put it on that website, and it's free. There are things
No reason not to do it.
purchase, but there's no reason not to go and read the articles. Many of them don't even mention things that I have there for available. They're just good things to know.
Well, something you mentioned, people getting in their 60s and 70s. Unfortunately, that's if we keep going down the road we're going down, it's not going to happen. The numbers are coming out. People are not outliving their parents. My wife, me, I'm 50. We both had battled cancer. I know so many people going through it right now that aren't even close to 60 or 70. So the numbers are telling us it's not looking good. So like you said, though, you got to jump on it before the train gets there. You have to, and we're not sitting here trying to dictate what to do. We're just telling you the options, right? They're tools.
The big killers: cancer, heart disease, dementia. I've done radio programs on all of those, and I think we did 3 weeks on cancer. So I would really hope that you'll go read that article, because even if you already have it, the things in that article are going to start moving you in a direction away from it, and quickly, very quickly. Some of the stories that I've heard, like my cousin was diagnosed, and my assistant, my personal assistant here, both had cancer. My cousin was diagnosed with terminal cancer. They told her she had 6 months to live. This was in 2012. So she decided, well, no, I don't have 6 months to live, that's 90% of it right there. If you just accepted, okay, I'm going to die in 6 months, she'd been dead. But she's kind of like me. She's stubborn. No, that's not going to happen. And she did, she found out what she needed to find out. If you went and talked to your doctor about that, the chances are they'd probably say, well, yeah, that's what people say. But your mind is the most powerful medicine there is. There's nothing else that comes close. So if you can change your mind and get a mindset that I'm going to do whatever is necessary to regain my health and to live a full, happy, and prosperous life. You see, I'm 78. Okay? I looked older than that when I was 69 because my health was deteriorating, but I didn't know it. I mean, you wake up every day, it's another day, and you don't realize. If you're approaching 70 or you're in your 60s and some of those symptoms like a cough, a chronic cough that you can't get rid of, or a headache, if you're always having a headache, your ankles are swelling, or the biggest giveaway is that your stomach starts to get big and go over your belt. If you know, I've always been really thin, really skinny, and I told my wife one day, I said, "Look, you know, I'm bigger than you are." I thought that was a good thing. This was right before the struggle. So it wasn't a good thing.
Right.
If those symptoms start to show up, you can go to your doctor and talk about it. But I think the better thing to do would be go to YouTube, really, and go there with the intent of learning. But don't be a skeptic. Listen to people who are giving testimonials who don't derive any benefit from the testimonial other than they're helping you. That's the kind of people you listen to. And that's why when I was listening about the L-arginine and citrulline, that's powerful. It opens up your veins, makes them subtle. You won't get hardening of the arteries. It coats the inside of your veins so that you won't have the cholesterol blocks. One of the things, when I go to my regular doctor, they say, you have to do something to reduce your cholesterol. And I think, yeah, that's what you think, because people who have higher cholesterol actually live longer. Cholesterol is a good thing. It's like an ambulance. Okay, something's wrong in a house, and 5 ambulances show up, and they say, "Oh, the problem is the ambulances." No, that's not the problem. It's something else. The problem is not the ambulance, and the cholesterol is there to coat the crack in your artery. Now, if you keep getting cracks in your artery, you're going to get more cholesterol and then eventually that's going to block the artery. But the cholesterol is not it's the cracks that's causing the problem. So if you can heal those, the cholesterol will not show up anymore. It's not needed, but every cell in your body has it. And if you didn't have cholesterol, you'd be dead. So anyway, by the way, let me make this point. I don't have any medical training and I'm not a doctor. If you do anything that I say, please consult your physician and make your own research. All I'm doing is just telling you what my experience has been and what I've seen in other people.
No, and I agree 100%. I mean, I think they can work together.
Well, they have if you break your leg, you should go to a doctor. Doctors, you're in a car accident, but get to a doctor really, really fast. If you want to live to be 95, you need to do some stuff on your own, because I don't know of any doctor who has the prescription that's going to make you live to 95. Their prescription's probably going to cut it to 75 or 72. That's just my feeling.
Well, I mean, we have to understand, and again, it's not a dig at the medical world, but it's a business. And when there's a supplement that is, let's just say, not very expensive compared to a pharmaceutical, they're gonna pick the one that makes them money. I mean, that's not I don't think that's too far out there to understand. So, with saying that, do you think people are starting to understand to look at the holistic side of it, to look at I hate to even say alternatives because they're really not alternatives, they're natural.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Back in the 70s, mid 70s, cancer was pretty much cured. I mean, they had the the process. The doctors were curing people, and then the American Medical Association came in and said, "No, this is not a good cure. Don't use that." And they wouldn't even let you write articles about it. And I still hesitate to mention what it is. Upside, or you could find out. But if somebody told me I had cancer, I know exactly what to do. But I don't expect to get it because, we're doing the things that I feel like we're going to prevent it. I may be wrong, but I feel pretty comfortable because I've seen so many people that had nothing else to gain other than to help people, say, here's the right thing to do.
Something you mentioned in your bio, you have it's and I'm reading it here, lifesavers and brain boosters, your 39-point protocol. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
Again, it's one of the articles on my
Okay,
website. You could go and get for free along with 15 or 16 others. It's something that you mentioned to hopefully get people to come and look. And from that, maybe gain some information or some education that will help them. And if along the way they see something that they can't find anywhere else, they know where to come and find it.
got it. And then one other thing that really caught me, moving from fear to gratitude. I really like that.
Friend who was diagnosed, I used to go to dances all the time. I met my wife at the dance, and you meet the same guys would be there a lot of times. And I saw him there one time, and he had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. And so I saw him about a year later, and I said, "Well, how's that going?" He said, "I'm total. It's a total remission. Everything is fine. I'm going to live a lot longer." I said, "Well, what happened?" He said, "My doctor told me to find all of the funny movies and videos that I could possibly find, and when somebody said something funny, to laugh for 3 minutes. Think about it over and over again and laugh and laugh and laugh." And he said that healed me. Now, isn't that amazing? Just laughing is a cure. But if you want to see somebody deteriorate really quickly, find someone who is embittered about something. They hate someone. They've been, the world is against them. They don't like the political situation. They don't like somebody. They just are bitter. Well, you just watch them. You can just see their wrinkles coming in. You can see their eyes. You can watch their face deteriorate. I hate to mention anybody but I could mention 2 or 3 people who are just so deep into the political hate, rancor, that you can literally see them deteriorating in front of your face. And antidote to that would be, think of something that you're grateful for. Now, this was inbred in me when I was a kid and I was mopey. My mother would make me sit down and give me a pen and paper, and she'd say, write down all of the things that you have to be thankful for. And she'd help. She'd say, your daddy, your grandmother, my bicycle, and I'd write and write and write. So when I got to 20 or 25 things, I had already forgotten why I was upset, and I just wanted to go out and play. The habit was formed early with me, and I still do that. I still, list all the wonderful things in my life every single day. I love my office. I love talking to you. I love my secretary. I love my assistant. I love my bookkeeper. I love my car. I love, everything to me is just a joy. And being alive and having gotten past that stroke, just being alive is a joy. And that's a very healing and positive thing, so that your body is not fighting that anger and bitterness. And it has time to fight the things off that can kill you or make you sick. So I sincerely believe that, but give it a try.
It makes perfect sense to me. Since I've started doing this podcast, the theme has been positivity from every guest. And you see it in the joy that they have for just telling their stories or just wanting to help others. I found myself, I don't care if I'm making money or not, which I'm not, but I'm happy at the end of the day because I get to talk to individuals like yourself and other guests that are so positive that they're out there helping others too. And it's just a great environment. And that's why I wish people would watch more of these podcasts and listen to, again, individuals like yourself, because we're getting joy out of helping others. It's that simple.
Yes, right, right. It thrills me if someone comes back and says, "Oh, I tried your body of health drink and I'm just feeling so good." Well, the body of health drinks on the website is free. It's just a recipe. Uh, I took, for years I listened to people say that you need ginger, you need all of these different things, and I thought, well, what if you put them all in one drink? Lemon juice and all of it in one drink. How would that taste? And so I did, and it tastes pretty good. I mean, it really does because a lot of the spices are good. So I wrote the body of health drink, and I started sharing it out with a group of people who were all interested in health, and I shared that with them. And there's also the number one food that tastes really good that's going to make you healthier than anything else is cacao. Well, cacao is just chocolate, and uh, and I make this candy that has almond butter in it, and it has dates in it, and it has walnuts and pumpkin seeds, but it's chocolate, and it tastes, oh God, it tastes so good. And you can have it after every meal and don't feel bad about it. There's no sugar in it. There's nothing in it that's bad. It's all really, really good. And it tastes sweet. It tastes like chocolate fudge. In fact, it tastes better than chocolate fudge. So, if that sounds good, go to the website and get that. Actually, there's 6 recipes for using cacao. There's candy, uh, ice cream. There's 6 different recipes. And the more cacao you can get down you, the healthier you're going to be.
Again, that simple. One last question. And I think this is where people, okay, there's all these supplements, there's all these healthy foods. How do we afford it? As a business person, maybe explain that you can very easily afford these things, right?
It's easy. How much are you paying for doctor's prescriptions? I mean, even even if you have insurance, if you move that same budget into just the very healthiest things, there's 1 or 2 or 3 things, like cacao is one of them, the L-arginine and citrulline is another. If you just move the budget to healthy foods, which you're going to eat foods anyway, and just the very best supplements, which they're not drugs, they're supplements, so they don't cost that much, then you can change your life. I guess my budget's more than other people because anything I hear of that's going to make me healthier or feel better, I'm going to get it. But a lot of the stuff that we order is not very expensive. And if you want to check the prices, go to bodyofhealth.life and just see what the prices are. Or read some of the articles and just start out with the things that cost the least to have the most.
Well, and I'm very much on a budget. Uh, but it's funny, I was thinking about this the other day. I just bought something it's pretty expensive, but I sat there going, I can afford it because I don't have a pantry full of stuff that, 1, I don't really need anyway. That's all the junk food, that's all we sit there and say, "That's cheap." Well, it's not cheap when you buy all of it, you know? And if you're really eating the proper foods, it actually fills you up where you don't need all those extras, if you think about it.
But if you're going to get salt anyway, you might as well get Celtic salt. Costs a little bit more, but it's 10,000 times better for you. Working garlic into garlic don't cost that much. Working it into your diet, olive oil. You know, take olive oil every single day. Well, you're going to use oil anyway. Use olive oil instead of the other. Use coconut oil. So you can make changes that are not expensive that will have a tremendous impact on your life.
I do a Amazon storefront, and it's everything that I utilize, and the only reason I'm doing it is it's affordable for people. That's the only reason I'm doing it. I want people to not have that excuse of, "Oh, it's too expensive." here it is. You know, it's this is what I use, it's right in front of you. Again, if you cut out all the other junk, you can afford it.
Exactly. And I
Dennis,
imagine you didn't want to say to become rich. You priced it so that people could purchase it. That's what I do. Mine is there to help people, not to make a fortune.
yeah, no, and I'm the same way. I mean, I just wanna get by. And trust me, at the moment, I'm not. But, um, Dennis, on the way out, is there anything else you wanna tell people?
Well, I like to say this because it works regardless of whether it's business or health or some charitable project. It doesn't matter what the project is. If you will form the habit of reading something positive every single day that moves you in that direction, you'll get there very quickly because it's like putting a rudder on a boat. You have to know what it is you want. So it forces you to say, okay, this is what I want. So every day I'm going to read something that leads me in this direction. People's minds are very scattered. You'll start a project and then something else will come up. And the next thing you know, you're going in 50 different directions. Let's say a young girl wanted to become a veterinarian. And she just said, okay, I want to be a veterinarian. And she forgot it. Well, one day she might become a veterinarian and she might not. But if she really wanted to, and every day she formed the habit of reading something positive that led her in that direction, it wouldn't be long before she'd be visiting veterinary clinics, finding colleges that are getting ahead so that when she does get there, she already knows the terminology. So that's a very powerful habit to form, and I hope that everyone will form it.
I love it. One thing I'd add to that is go out living. You definitely have that attitude. You didn't let the doctor stop you. You have the attitude, and that's what we want for everybody. And, yeah, keep watching because guests like you make that possible. Dennis Henson, I really appreciate it. It was such a pleasure to have you on.
Jonathan, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I hope maybe someday we can do it again.
Without a doubt. I love that. Alright, everybody, that was Dennis Henson. Awesome guest. I really appreciate it. As you know, find the attitude, keep the attitude, go out living. Till next time, everybody. Bye.